One of the reasons why we moved off our sailboat and onto land was to have more control over the food we eat and the water we consume. With a passion for traditional methods of food preparation, an appreciation of knowing where our food comes from, and a desire to improve the land that we're on, we've embarked on this journey to grow and raise our own food on the farm. This year, we plan to make some delicious charcuterie from the happy pigs we have raised ourselves. We have experimented with curing small cuts of meat in the past, and we have pored through books on the subject of raising and butchering pigs and curing and preserving your own pork. However, there's nothing quite like learning these techniques firsthand from someone with plenty of experience. So here we find ourselves in Jack's shed with Troy's brother-in-law Sam, learning the art of dry cured sausage making.
We've got the meat all laid out. That's what we were just doing. Sam and I were flattening it out. The whole idea was to get everything at a consistent thickness, and now we're going to get some seasoning. All of these efforts is to get a really consistent product throughout. So this is about a uniform width, trying to get a uniform sprinkling of seasoning over, and then even when we mix it up, again, the whole aim is to get very, very consistent seasoning all the way through, so you don't have pockets that are really strongly flavoured and then other ones that have no flavouring.
I'm gonna wear the 50 each.
Yeah, because the wine
dig your
gets in.
fingers right in. You want to push it right to the bottom.
I did a good job.
Red wine, garlic, and red wine and garlic.
Splash away.
Evenly.
Oh, look at this. Chili's going. We had everything uniform, we spread everything through. Ricardo and I were piling it up, spreading it out, and just looking for any patches where there might be some spices, and that indicates that it hasn't been properly, like I can see here. Not good enough. Not to standard.
It's been a rolling door of recruits today, getting involved.
Everyone has to come and go before they get over 0.05.
Yeah.
It does.
So how many sausages a year do you make, Jack?
In the kilos, we're in the bloody 45,000 sausages or 2,180 kilos.
Jeez.
What do you want to know?
Well, we've heard it now.
We've done it now. It's a wrap.
So how many sausages are we making today?
90 kilos.
90 kilos, which is...
Well, 600.
sausages.
600 here. On these.
600, nearly 600 grams of sausage.
It's round 2 here at Ladycroft Orchard, and one of the workers here spilt a bin down one of the, or just actually not even down the row, right on the edge of the row. So this is pretty easy picking for us. And they're like fantastic apples. They're big pink ladies ones. They were ones that were picked for market. So they're very spoilt pigs that we're getting, and definitely cut out a bit of time today. Pretty happy with it.
So it looks like we could have filled that up a little bit more, but it's winter. There's some slippery roads around and we don't have mud tyres. So we'll just go easy with that. This might seem a little bit strange, but we're working on getting the pigs more comfortable with us just touching them and being near them. So at the moment, they still like a little bit of personal space, and we respect that. But I think pigs are anything's just going to be much easier to handle if they sort of associate us with just nice thoughts and just happy feelings. Hey pig, 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 pig. Hello. There's your shoulder blades. How's that? Pretty good? Is that good? That feel good?
So the pigs are having, they've got a pig ration, which you would have seen us feed them. It's a high protein grain ration. But we've only been giving them a half ration at the moment because we've been able to glean all these apples and cabbage on all different bits and pieces. And they're putting on weight really well and they're responding really well to the diet. So I think it's happiness all around. We're making use of some wasted fruit and vegetables and feeding it to our pigs. So I definitely think our pigs have put on weight in the 2 weeks that we've had them. They look more strong across here and they've also got much bigger bellies, so it's pretty exciting.
These pigs, they're getting a lot of apples, and that means they're getting a lot of sugar, carbohydrates, and it'll probably contribute to them putting on a pretty good layer of fat. That's sort of fallen out of fashion lately, and if you look at consumer pork, like mass-produced, in Australia at least, they're leaning towards a more lean product, so they don't want as much fat on a pig. We're happy for our porkers to be a little bit more rotund. Taski's a big enthusiast for cooking with lard or any natural oil, okay? Anything that doesn't come out of a refinery or a laboratory or something that we can make in our own kitchen. We're pretty convinced that that's a good thing for you. What do you know? Our grandparents were right. We're really happy to be giving them this sort of stuff, and we're looking forward to around Christmas time here in the southwest. They have a massive cherry festival. It's known, throughout our state. People flock down, and hopefully we'll be flocking to the packing houses and getting those spoiled cherries. And these guys, they'll be getting that for Christmas. I don't think you can, like that old-fashioned, good-flavoured charcuterie, nice hams, good product. You can only really do it by controlling what your animals eat, and we're really interested in that. So we go to a bit of trouble, and we do put a bit of extra labour. I probably don't think that this would be economical to do at scale, but that's not what we're about. We want the best water and the best food that we can get, and this is how we think we can get closer to that. So it's only been a couple of days, so we've come for a bit of a survey after the chaos, after the pigocalypse. So a lot of this grass that had this bulb on it, it's a real sort of poverty weed, this stuff. Nothing's really eating it. I was really happy to see a lot of this up and the bulbs laying on the surface. So that's really great. And another thing, if we look closely here, we can see that there's quite a bit of clover that in the disturbance, there's young clover coming through, and some of the clover that was turned upside down has taken root again and is doing well in this turned up soil. So if we end up getting less of this nut grass or this thing with a bulb on it, I'm not sure exactly what it's called, if we get less of that and more clover, I'd be absolutely delighted. So we're going to keep an eye on that. I also found a bucket of seed in the shed that had been used to seed around the house, so they had a nicer lawn. I cast a bit of that in, and where the pigs are at the moment, I actually cast a bit of that in where they're actively walking around, just because we had some very good rainfall in the last couple of days. So we'll have to see how that goes as well. But so far, it's just been a couple of days and it's looking promising. The clover's taking root and it's been spread a lot more. It was in very localised pockets, but now I can look and there's lots of clover everywhere and it's starting to show its face. So that's a really great sign.
So this is the original latrine for the pigs where they did all their poo when we first put them in, and it's crazy. There's like these mycelium networks that are eating away all the poo. When we first saw this on the property, I thought it was like a dead rabbit or something, like a fox had gotten a rabbit, because it looks like a furry animal, but it's actually, like fungi networks. Really crazy stuff.
We watched a little bit of a YouTuber called Charles Dowding, and his whole shtick, I guess, is no-dig gardening. And the reason, the fundamental premise behind it is that he wants to leave the underground mycelial networks of fungus intact. So
if he's to be believed, and I think he is because he makes money from it, he's a commercial market gardener, so he knows what he's on about. Seeing this level of fungal activity in our soil, that makes us pretty positive. Fertility is not necessarily just something you add, it's something that, interactions between living things. So to see all of these droppings starting to disappear within just over a week, I'm really, I'm really excited for it. So excited over pig poo. Troy, what are you on about? But I'm also excited to have a source of gravel here. I'll just wait for the pig poo to disappear.
So you can see that the ground's quite impacted here. This was the main thoroughfare from the latrine to the watering spot in this first paddock that was sectioned off. I think we'll just leave it compacted as it is and turn it into a path when we eventually plant something in here.
Gonna need somewhere to have a wheelbarrow.
Yeah.
Well, last week we were making sausages, and part of the waste product from that was the skin. No one wanted it, but we did. So what we're doing at the moment is trying to extract the lard. Now we had a bit of a go at it before. Oh my lord, it's onto the workbench luckily. Had a bit of a go at it before, and I left the skin on. It was a little bit unsuccessful. So what we ended up with was a bit of burning, and it discoloured the lard. So Pasky's asked me to just try and remove as much skin as possible from the layer of fat. And then, like most people do, we'll put all the fat into this camp oven, top it up with water, start boiling it, keep an eye on it, and then the water will separate the fat out. Hopefully by the time all the water's evaporated, there's enough fat to take over the process, and that will continue to render more fat out. This is day 2 behind us. So this is a very rocky paddock and very, very poor. It never gets a decent sort of grass on here. So we've got the pigs to do a bit of disturbance for us. Looking really great. They haven't pushed a lot of stuff up against the fence, so my job's relatively easy. At this small scale, we can do things that just wouldn't be economic for a larger scale farmer, because we're just looking to try and produce the best food that we possibly can, rather than feed an awful lot of people. So farmers have to do, everything's a compromise. So they really need to increase some efficiency where we can get some inefficiencies, because what we want is just a really great product for ourselves and our families. As low impact as we can possibly do it, from the happiest animals that we can possibly raise. So there's absolutely a happy pig doing what pigs do. Nice dirty nose. Lots to do out here. They're not too ambitious, but they do like to find nice treats under the ground. Daddy boy! Oh, look at you. Ooh. So we kind of left you in the lurch a little bit, and the last you saw we were filling this big black thing with apple juice and yeast. A few people have been like, wow, what's happening? And this is what's happening. So we did the primary ferment in there until it stopped bubbling through the airlock. We got some of these lovely glass carboys. We really like these, it makes everything visible and they just sort of look, I don't know, a little bit classier than that. So we siphoned them into that about a month ago, and we've just let a lot of the cloudiness settle. So we've got a nice big bed of yeast down the bottom here. This is a 3-gallon carboy, which is around about 11 litres, but we've got another 5-gallon carboy that Pasky demanded that we age for another month or so.
Yeah, I'd like it to clear up a bit more and just...
You'd like a nice dry cider.
Dry cider, yeah.
Okay, so I've got this little carboy for me. Pasky's the booze hound. What we're going to do right now is we just want to siphon that off and into the black tub, leave all that yeast behind, and then once it's in the black tub, this tub actually has a tap at the bottom, which makes life a bit easier. We've got a little spigot there, we can put the bottles on and just auto-fill it. Well, I'm becoming a very big fan of owning pigs. So pigs are very much a no-waste animal. Here I've got a food bucket, so we've expanded our scavenging to include my sister's household now. There's nearly nothing that they won't eat that's organic. So those 5 pigs, in addition to all the apples we're giving them, and you know the grain ration we're giving them as well, they can easily handle 2 households full of waste. The poor old chooks don't get a look in. But luckily, those chooks have taken to scratching around the paddocks after the pigs, and they don't spend too much time mooching around their feeder. It's really great. Dogs, do you want to go for a walk? Pig, 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 pig. Pig, 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 pig. Come on, pigs. So this bucket was mostly full, and I'd say they're going to be through the bulk of it in about a minute. I guess they'll leave the veggies behind. There's lots of cream. There's a whole carton of off cream in there. It's gone. Some of the sweeter fruit, tamarillos and things like that, that's all gone. So I think the celery will be the last to go. Hello. Cook, cook. You don't want to go in there. Cook, cook. Noisy birds. Once again, I've set up the lean-to for these piggies. I've put it as close to the electric fence as I can, so I can get as many of the tent posts outside or close to the electric wire. That stops the pigs from coming up and rubbing on it and chewing on it. They like to scratch on it. These posts here are strong enough for a pig to scratch on, but I've found that they really, really like this thing. Like, they spend a lot of time under here, and of course when it's pouring rain, they've really favoured it. So I threw a bunch of bracken fern in there to help them make a nest in there. Pigs like to make a little nest. So all of them just sort of pile up in here. They can escape from the rain, and also if they get a bit of sun, you know, they can escape from it then as well. Setting this up every 4 days is a little bit of a pain, even though it takes about 15 minutes. But later on in the bigger paddocks, which will be 50 metres by 20 metres, I'll be able to leave it there for about 10 days at a time. So it won't be much of an ordeal at all. Laying out these electric wires is very, very quick as well. So moving the pigs is not much of an issue. Oh, hello. Would you like a scratch? I've been trying to put a little bit of effort in to make the pigs want to come up and have a pat. And I mean, that's nice. You know, it's a nice experience to sort of be kind to animals, I guess. Even though, you know, we are going to eat these pigs. But from a purely practical standpoint, it's really great. Now that they trust us and they will come to me for a scratch. If this pig escapes, I can come with a bucket of food and a nice scratch and probably walk it around. But to give it a medical examination, well, not medical, but you know, just check for ticks and injuries and stuff like that, it's much easier now. You know, I don't have to subject this pig to any sort of enclosure or running it through a press or anything like that. As the other pigs, because they're smart, they see that this one gets nice treatment. They're starting to come up, gather round and get these pats. Well, we've got another customer here. Bit close to the electric fence, so hello. Hello, pig. There's that proximity of that little post to the electric fence sort of dissuades the pig from mucking around with it too much.
Appalachian sunrise meets my skin. You with my eyes still closed, feel it coming. Golden, I'll follow home. Golden, golden things.
by having this self-serving food dispenser here and the chicken watering nozzles there with their home, we're just trying to encourage the chickens to make this their like central focus, and they branch out from here. Even still with this net, when a chicken gets around there, it still involves a little bit of shepherding to get them back around into the opening. They're not that bright, as cool as they are. This design for just the chicken shelter to keep them out of the rain has also been quite successful. Being able to move it in the afternoon, just each time that I come and get the eggs, means that when they go to bed, they're in a unsoiled environment. So here's last night, quite a bit of chicken poo here. So this will take a little while to dilute back into the soil, but you know that this is going to be nice and fertile when it eventually weathers. Chicken tractors, they're not a new idea. We're not really tractoring with this. All we're just trying to do is minimise a toxic environment building up. This is only ever going to be grass, and hopefully use goats and things like that around here. So we want to build this up. We want to see if we can encourage more clover in the background where the pigs were. And of course, what we found is having the chickens come through after the pigs, all the high and low spots sort of get evened out with the chickens digging and scratching. So they're very complementary. Last night we had really heavy rain. I've already come and lifted this off and had a look at it. It was just brimming with water, but everything's nice and dry in there. And these are high protein layer pellets for these particular chickens, not that seed mix that I was using. That seed mix can go to the other chooks at free range. This is the stuff they're more used to. Very high protein for their egg production, but as you can see, they spend a lot more time getting high protein out of the dirt.
Here we are, and it smells pretty delicious. So I think we're going to bag up quite a few of these today. They've been hanging for they have been hanging for 5 weeks. Is that right, Troy?
It must be about that, yeah. So this is the service area underneath the house. It's a bit echoey, the audio is going to be pretty bad, but you can bear with us. But it's an amazing spot for hanging salamis and charcuterie, any sort of products. What was it, about 100 kilos?
100 kilos of pork.
Yeah, got run into here. So these have all been curing down here. They were just recently pressure washed, okay, with a washer. Traditionally it was done with vinegar, but they've just found with huge volumes that it's good to do it with a pressure washer. Let's try the cider.
How long has it been?
Good question. Nearly 2 weeks, do you think?
2 weeks since we back sugared it and put it into bottles. Oh, wow.
What do you think?
Smells pretty good. It's a little bit yeasty.
I think it's a bit yeasty. Alright, well let's have a pour. Ooh, it's got good fizz. Sounds good. I'll just leave the last couple of mil in there. Oh yeah, it's pretty cloudy in the bottle there.
So yeah, a bit of yeast in there. A bit cloudy. You definitely poured it well. You left the cloudiness.
Yeah, so that's pretty clear.
Pretty clear.
It's definitely got fizz. It's definitely got alcohol.
It's alcoholic.
I think that's a little bit yeasty, so we'll...
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, it's a bit yeasty, but we've got lots more apples to collect to try some other methods.
So what was that? That's about 15 litres. See how your one goes that you're still letting settle.
Now, a nice chocolate board to use.
What flavour we got? Ooh, fennel. Yum. So let's see if we can get that casing off. It wouldn't hurt us if we ate that. Alright, so ladies first.
This is the fennel one. It's delicious.
It's cured really well.
Yeah, it's really nice. I reckon I could have a little bit more fat. When we make our own, maybe we can put a bit more fat in.
I think the pigs have already put a bit more fat in.
Yeah.
Put a bit more apple in there.
Yeah, it's delicious. It's really great.
It's really nice and firm. The flavour's just right.
Yeah. It'll be very exciting when we make our own with our own pig. Thanks for watching, liking and subscribing to our channel. We hope you enjoyed this week's video, and we'll see you next time for more adventures from the Ramshackle Ranch.